Have you ever wondered what's happening outside or why plants and animals are doing the things that they do?
If so, then join us on an adventure as we explore nature in our own backyard.
I'm Joshua York, and this is my friend Aaron Roykamp. We're both naturalists for Five Rivers Metroparks in Dayton, and welcome to Wild for Ohio, where we're going to learn all about our environment. Today, we are out here at Germantown Metropark just south of Dayton, and we're going to be learning more about how animals survive the winter.
Because of our axial tilt, it gets cold in Ohio. Many trees lose their leaves, and sometimes lakes, ponds, and even the ground freezes. All animals of Ohio have different strategies for survival. Some, like groundhogs, hibernate, while things like chipmunks and screech owls hide food. Other mammals even grow more fur to keep warm, while some actually just leave the area for warmer climates.
Some animals spend winter in a special kind of sleep called hibernation. Everything slows down. Their heart beats much slower, their breathing gets slow, that it might not even be noticeable. Some animals eat a lot in the fall and get really fat. This stored up energy will fuel their body through the winter. Only a few animals in Ohio hibernate, the groundhogs and the bats. When groundhogs hibernate, they only breathe about 1 time a minute. Black bears found in the woods of eastern Ohio will also take long sleeps in the winter, but since their metabolism doesn't drop like groundhogs and bats, it is not a true hibernation. Some frogs will spend the winter buried in the mud at the bottom of ponds, while other frogs will hide in the trees and actually freeze when the temperatures get low, and then later start moving around when it warms up. Toads like to bury on land to escape freezing temperatures. Reptiles, like many of Ohio's turtles, like to bury in the mud and wait for warmer temperatures. Sometimes on a warmer winter day, you can see them wandering around. Many of Ohio's mammals, like squirrels, raccoons, rabbits, coyotes, they just keep going. They survive the winter by growing more fur to help them keep warm.
Because food can be hard to find in the winter, some creatures actually plan ahead and store up or hoard food in advance. For example, chipmunks start collecting acorns and seeds for the winter as early as late summer, and a single chipmunk can collect up to 165 acorns a day. They store their extra food in the underground dens or in other hidden underground stashes. Screech owls will save or cache their food. In the spring and summer, they often eat smaller things like insects, but in the winter, if they're lucky enough to catch something larger, like a mouse, they might eat part of it, and they typically eat the brains first because they have the most nutrients, and then they'll actually save the rest. So while that mouse is waiting to be eaten, it will freeze, so when the screech owl is then ready to eat it, it has to sit on it to incubate it, to warm it up. It's like their own version of a microwave.
Some animals can't adapt to the colder weather and food changing, so they just simply leave, called migration. Birds, some butterflies, dragonflies, and even bats migrate. But what is less known is that some animals will actually migrate to Ohio from the north. Birds like saw-whet owls, long-eared owls, dark-eyed juncos, and so many more call Ohio home during the winter. It's like we live in their tropics. Winter is a great time to get out and see these animals before it warms up and they travel back north.
Getting outdoors and finding evidence of these animals is all part of the fun. Although many of these animals are nocturnal, meaning more active at night, you can still see what they've left behind, like tracks or even their poop, which we like to call scat.
Coyote tracks look similar to your dog tracks at home, except their back feet land right where their front feet were. It makes it look as if coyotes only have 2 legs instead of 4. Many of our mammals travel this way. It saves energy. Coyotes are often traveling in straight lines too. They know where they're going and how to get there. Coyotes also like to leave scat right on the trails. It's typically skinnier than a dog's and has lots of hair in it from all the creatures like mice and rabbits that they eat.
Raccoon tracks closely resemble our own handprints and footprints. When you find a track of their front feet, you'll see that they have 4 long, slender fingers, and they even have a thumb. Their thumbs aren't opposable like ours though, but they do give them a lot more dexterity.
Deer prints in the mud look like little hearts. The pointed end of the hoof prints are facing towards the direction of travel. So in a sense, their track is pointing you in the direction that they went. Deer like to poop in the morning, just when they wake up. So if you find their scat, you might have found one of their bedding areas.
If you ever find tracks that end at the base of a tree, chances are you found squirrel tracks. Squirrels have nests made of leaves and branches on the outside, but inside they have a nice soft layer of moss and pine needles. The squirrels retreat to these nests when the weather gets cold for shelter and warmth.
Cottontail rabbit tracks look similar to squirrels, but they place their front feet much closer together. Also, they don't disappear at a tree, but instead at brushy areas.
Also, while you are outdoors, keep your ears open for birds. A great winter activity is building your own bird feeder to put out in your backyard. It's easy. Let me show you how. You'll only need a clean plastic bottle, scissors, string, and 1 or 2 sticks. Start by removing the cap from the bottle. Then, with the help of an adult, use the scissors to carefully make 2 holes in the bottle, directly across from one another. Put your stick through the holes, creating your perches. Next, cut a circular hole above the perch so the birds can get to the seed while they're sitting there. If you want to add another perch, you can repeat this process with a perch going in the opposite direction of the first one. Lastly, you are going to want to make 2 more small holes directly across from one another at the very top of the bottle. This is where you'll run your string through so you can hang up your bird feeder. Fill it up with birdseed, put the cap back on, and you are ready to take it out and hang it up. For more information, check out the resources below on PBS Learning Media. This is a fun activity for the whole family to enjoy.
Thanks for joining us today. As you can see, Ohio's ecosystems are still hard at work during the winter. There are so many great opportunities to explore nature right now in your own backyard. Get outside and explore.
See you next time.